Okay, I believe we're back. I'm just getting the calculator set up to get the random numbers. I have my sheet out, and I would like to say that I am starting to reach exhaustion with the possibilities here. Although, according to permutation and combination, there are an extremely large amount of possibilities, but I don't necessarily want to reuse words. So I may be creating a new list here. If you have any suggestions for nouns, verbs, adjectives, or adverbs, then you can post those in the comments, and I will be sure to consider them for the next sheet. This one was relatively quickly made, so if you have any interesting things that are really random and will spice up the conversation and the drawing, I am very open to the suggestions. So we will get right into this. The first number is 13, which is Skyscraper, which we have not seen yet. And the second number is 11, which is Tango. I do believe we have seen that already, so I will get a different word. Um, we have number 6, which is Explain. So that fits right in with the topic of the stream and of the channel in general. And the third number is 16, which is Haunted. And so this sounds like a relatively straightforward drawing, but we will see how it goes. So, we have to decide what is actually being haunted. Is it the skyscraper, or is the skyscraper what is actually haunting someone else? That may be a more impractical possibility, but I would like to consider the realm of possibility because it is sort of in the fashion of Adventure Time, one of my favorite shows, to have all things inanimate and animate uh, somewhat be able to haunt. So that is something that I think we might be able to play around with. So I would like to explain how a skyscraper may haunt someone. Now I'm not sure how well this will go, but we'll start drawing. So if we're going to draw a skyscraper, we can draw it in a three-dimensional fashion. If we draw a rectangle and then we offset it and draw a secondary rectangle and parallel, but in a opposite or in a different plane of existence. And so now we have our skyscraper with our windows, and this will be a three-story skyscraper with windows in the back, and I think that you get the idea, but I will just finish this out for completion's sake. So there's the roof up here, and so obviously if this skyscraper is haunting something, then we first must think of how it was destroyed or brought out of existence. Now, what tends to happen with our growing society and our lack of new space to move into, it is important that we reuse the space that we currently have, because moving into uh, more areas of the environment is bad for the animals that live there. It is important that we keep our nature, uh, we give nature space so that evolution can take its course without our uh, involvement. Now, so what might happen to a skyscraper? Well, if a skyscraper is bought out by another company or whatever, whoever owns it, they may want to put a different building on this plot of land. And so what will happen is um, they will bring in the demolition team. But what tends to happen with larger buildings is you can't just knock it down because of the carnage that would happen if there were another building over here and the building were to fall and cause explosions and destruction on this building. So what people tend to do, they will hire someone who knows what they're doing and not someone who doesn't know what they're doing. And they will set charges at various points in the building so that the building can be imploded. Now, one would think from the movies that these charges would cause an explosion, but if the charges are put in the correct positions, the building will actually collapse inward on itself and uh, and reduce uh, the total carnage of the destruction of the building. So the building will fall and cause a big heap of rubble. And the reason that I know that buildings are imploded is because the place I was born was actually imploded several years ago. I would have thought it would be a national monument by now, but they thought otherwise. So um, this building will be imploded. But if we have our idea of a skyscraper haunting something, then perhaps this skyscraper will ascend into the 50th Dead World, and it will be a ghost skyscraper. And is this on the page? It is. And so I will draw this ghost skyscraper here, and it is mad because it used to exist, but now it doesn't. And so we have our slightly smaller but still menacing skyscraper that is now going to haunt the new building that comes into this plot of land. So we will redraw our plot of land over here. Sorry, I will grab the black. And so now perhaps if we have a playground being put on this plot of land with a seesaw and a slide, then the children will be playing on the playground, and they will have their little spring horses. Okay, it's a spring frog, I guess. But then this angry skyscraper spirit will float on into the new plot of land and begin scaring children. And so this is problematic. It is seen in many communities because the children have never experienced the building due to their young age and lack of length in their life. So we will have our children here, and this will cause an unpleasant experience at the park because it doesn't necessarily do well for your ratings in terms of local facilities if you have a structure that is no longer existing, causing problems in the community. Now, this structure could also haunt a community in a more realistic way by having caused damage, or in implementing the building, the actual structures underneath the ground, maybe the piping system, could have been tampered with in order to fit the building, but now they are not to code. This would become a problem for people building things on the new plot of land and would raise concerns and obviously in the end cost money, which is the worst way to haunt someone, to cost them money. So this is a problem that would generally arise if there were a skyscraper haunting a plot of land. So I hope that was a good explanation. That's the other word that was involved here. Now, if the skyscraper were explaining something from the dead, that would be a little bit more of a concerning idea, but I think in the realm of practicality that we have been discussing, it is more practical that I explain why the skyscraper would be haunting something else. So, That is a generally finished picture. If you have any comments in on anything that I have talked about today, or you just have a general question for me and my projects, leave that in the chat while I'm finishing up here. I'll make sure to mention it if I see the comment in the chat.